Hello guys, and last night was very successful for the demilitarization of Russia. Ukrainian drones visited perhaps the largest Russian factory of explosives. And do you know what happens when you target an explosive plant with drones? It explodes, and it explodes for hours because it's very explosive. But most importantly, lots of evil instruments of war were neutralized 900 kilometers away from the Ukrainian border. This is really far away. Another important special military operation of the Ukrainian drones took place in Lipetsk on their military airbase, where another ammunition depot was neutralized. Potentially, some Russian aircraft might have been targeted, but we will see that after the satellite images will reveal the broader picture. In general, this week Russia was on fire, lots of their military objects neutralized by Ukrainian drones in Kursk, in Belgorod, in Bryansk, in Orenburg. What is also interesting, Russia continues dropping bombs on its own territory and in general demonstrates lots of symptoms of desperation. For example, North Korean soldiers that will soon come to Russia to fight against Ukraine. And this is insane, as the world so far only expresses concerns and not allows Ukraine to target back Russia. Literally, in a couple of days, we will be able to say that Ukraine defends itself not just against one, but against two nuclear countries. So let's have a look at the most important events of this week and analyze them together. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Russia and North Korea defeated, subscribe. I'm sure sometime soon we will discuss these beautiful events on the channel, same as Putin's imprisonment. And there are definitely steps that we take to achieve our victory. You know that this week the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, visited lots of countries and institutions presenting their Ukrainian victory plan. We have a video about that on the channel, but personally I think that the best victory plan is our strategy to demilitarize Russia, to destroy its evil military objects and traditionally oil refineries, Black Sea Navy, and many other things that they have to threaten the world and to cause destruction. So this night was particularly successful because Ukrainian drones managed to reach deep inside the Russian RIA, actually 900 kilometers away from the Ukrainian border, to the city of Dzerzhinsk. Oh my God, I know you love Russian geography lessons, but they have to be combined with dark Russian history lessons because the name of the city comes from the name of the very bloody communist, Bolshevik, and they still worship such people in Russia 30 plus years after the collapse of the Soviet Union, which is another proof. Putin's dream is to restore this bloody empire and to continue expanding it. So in the city of Dzerzhinsk, they had perhaps the largest military plant of explosives. It is in NIZHNY NOVGOROD region, if you're interested, not that close to Ukraine. And this explosives factory produces a lot of different kinds of explosives, particularly used in the military. And I have even put down to enumerate detonators, ammunition, aviation and artillery shells, bombs, warheads. And what I love, it is also responsible for a number of chemicals that are super needed for the Russian oil refineries work. So by targeting this factory, we have actually neutralized lots of evil instruments of war and also influenced strengthen the problems in Russian oil industry, which are already very vivid and actually one of the main reasons why Putin's economy has serious troubles. So this is definitely beautiful. And what makes it funnier, in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, this factory was sanctioned by the European Union, US, and lots of countries who signed the agreement that this is a very evil, potentially the largest plant of military explosives, and it had to be isolated. But personally, as a Ukrainian, I guarantee that the best sanctions are such strikes on Russian military objects, because not only they save Ukrainian and other lives, but they actually even Russian lives, but they also demilitarize this evil empire. Because for decades after the defeat of Russia, after Putin's imprisonment, we will have to work with the population, helping them look at the dark pages of their history, realize the traumas they caused to others and the misery they live in, the deceit they live in, and teach them democracy. I don't know if it's possible, but we have to give it a try. Remember to subscribe to be stronger against Russian propaganda, to get your prevention, and demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. We need that, because right now, literally, we are fighting not just against Russia, but against North Korea. That's insane how quickly these authoritarian regimes unite. So the special military operation in Dzerzhinsk on the explosives factory was conducted by a number of Ukrainian units, starting from intelligence, SBU, and special operation forces. And I love that they are able to develop and conduct such operations really far away from the Ukrainian border. 900 kilometers, not just targeting these objects that Putin believed were well protected, but also demonstrating the vulnerability of Russia, lack of air defense, unprofessionalism of their military, and how easily it can actually be defeated. And it will be defeated. I know you like this just as I do. So people report online lots of explosions, at least 10 of them, detonations, huge fire, and nobody suffered, which is another very typical attitude of the Ukrainian army. We care about even bad people because they are still people, and it also makes us normal humans. And another special military operation that I like happened also tonight, and this was work of Ukrainian drones on the military airbase in LIPETSK. It is a big military airbase that our drones keep visiting because they keep supplying ammunition there, and potentially we have targeted an ammunition depot. And it is also a place where lots of Russian Su-34, Su-35 and MiG-31 are located. So we are waiting for the satellite images. But anyway, this is another proof that all of Russia is very vulnerable. And if we had the permission to strike back, and I think it's time to give this permission, because guys, North Korean soldiers are already traveling to the front lines in Ukraine. When will you allow us to do that? Anyway, if Ukraine is not allowed to bomb Russia, Russia is allowed to bomb itself, and they keep doing it. Let me know in the comments below, would you like an update on that? Because it seems like they continue dropping bombs on Belgorod. Perhaps Belgorod is the region that suffered most from this negligent behavior of the Russian pilots. Of course, they also apply scorched earth policy in Kursk, their own region, but they fail even with such attitudes. And this is another proof of how weak Russia actually is. I cannot imagine any sane country in the world dropping bombs accidentally on its own territory and not giving comments, and it happens not once. It seems to me that in a couple of last months they've dropped more than 60-80 bombs on Belgorod region only. That's insane. And this insanity in Russia, which is definitely a reflection of Putin's mental state, because, oh my God, those of you who've seen his speeches in 2000 at the start of his career and compare them with Putin today can clearly see that this is a totally different personality. I'm not saying he was okay in 2000s, but he was not crazy. Right now, he is definitely crazy with all his remarks and all of his actions, and also with his friend Kim Jong-un. once again, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, could you imagine North Korean soldiers fighting in the center of Europe? And this is our new reality. What bothers me, what frightens me, is this weak reaction from the West. And how many people speak about the concerns, or that this demonstrates the desperation of Russia. Okay, I like your comments, I like them on Twitter or threads, but where is our joint reaction? I guarantee you, Ukrainian reaction will be very strong and like as always, but it's not okay to observe how North Korean dictatorship sends thousands of troops to kill European citizens, and like any citizens, but I mean it's happening in a very visible area where you can clearly see everything from the satellite, and it is definitely not okay. Hopefully there will be some reaction, not just an observation and not just concerns, because these are 12,000 insane, malnutritious, poor people. Maybe they consider it as a chance of a lifetime to escape, but guys, it's not okay. I'm actually happy to see that more and more people realize that this is not just about Ukraine or our territories. These are authoritarian regimes uniting. We clearly see this union between Iran, China, North Korea, and Russia. And now, for the first time, perhaps, we see that a number of Chinese organizations were sanctioned because of their joint work with Russia on the drones. We'll see if it will continue, because economy is the most vulnerable part for all the authoritarian regimes. They are all about money. They are not about human life. They are not about quality of life. And they are not about ideology. They are about money for their crazy leaders. I don't want to call dictators leaders. Join the community of the channel if you're new. We are clever, kind people here who respect human life and who value personal freedom and national freedom and global freedom. So we don't like what Russia does to the world right now. We don't like Chinese attitudes, and we don't like North Korea. It is definitely a very weird feeling when you see what is happening and how it all evolves very quickly, and that there are still people who think Russia can be appeased, Putin can be treated as a politician, then maybe Kim Jong-un too. Can you imagine something similar at the beginning of 2000s? I don't. And that what actually makes me feel quite worried. But there are also good symptoms, like, for example, Saudi Arabia that started talking about the dropping prices for oil. And maybe this can threaten Putin a lot, because Russia is a dig and sell economy. They do not create anything. They simply sell their natural resources. And they are super dependent on the prices of oil and gas. And with Ukraine destroying up to 20% of their oil industry, they have become even more vulnerable. And for example, if the prices for oil drop, Russia won't have money to pay their soldiers, because once again, all the soldiers on the front lines are not fighting for ideology, are not fighting for their country. They are earning money, killing and looting Ukrainians. And that's awful. And that's why I don't have any hopes for protests or any movements inside Russia. They had their chance. They had their chance for decades, and now it is our task to defeat them and later to liberate them, and then to work with them for decades, because during all of its dark history, Russia, be it Russian Empire, Soviet Union, or the Russian Federation, has never experienced a period of democracy at all. It is almost unique for this planet, I guess. So please share the videos that you consider important on your social media platforms, because these fights count. This helps us fight Russian propaganda, Russian narratives, and there are too many of them. And it was like that for decades, if not centuries. So please do share and like the videos. Join me on X, Instagram, and Threads and Discord. All the links that you need are in the description of this video. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. This means a lot, inspires and helps me film and write more. And this week we are going to film with Sasha 3 more interesting videos. I was writing scenario and I do it with my hand. It looks like that, and it seems very interesting because it was really interesting for me to work on. And check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters. And most importantly, thank you for being my friends. Thank you for being friends of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!